Hi viewers, welcome to my channel. This is Sridhar Reddy, Assistant Professor of Physics from Government Degree College for Women, Nalgonda. Welcome to my channel, Sri Quantum Academy. Feel the physics at glance. In my previous series of lectures, we have discussed concepts related to static electricity. Now we will start new concept called magnetism. Today's topic is basics of magnetism. Before going to watch my video, please subscribe my channel and press bell icon to get latest updates. Please watch, share, comment, like my videos. The outlook of my talk is, first we will discuss about the introduction of magnetism and what is magnet. Next we will discuss about the basic properties of magnet and Coulomb's inverse square law in magnetism. Then we will discuss about what is magnetic field and magnetic field induction and magnetic lines of force and magnetic flux. After that we will discuss about Gauss law in magnetostatics, and finally we will discuss differential form of Gauss law. These concepts are exactly similar to that of the properties of electric charge, which are discussed in my previous videos, basics of electrostatics part 1 and part 2. I am providing link here. You can go through those videos to get idea about these properties. First, what is magnetism? Generally, magnetism is a physical phenomenon produced by the motion of electric charge, which results in attractive and repulsive forces between the objects. That means magnetism is a physical property which results in attractive and repulsive forces between the object. That means magnetic materials attract each other or repel. This property produced due to motion of electric charge. Some materials intrinsically they exhibit this property because every material contains atoms. Each atom contains electrons. So every material has electrons which are revolving around the nucleus. Due to the configuration of that electrons, some materials produce this magnetic property. The result of this magnetic property, few materials attract each other or repel each other. Examples for magnetic materials are iron, nickel, etc. The substance which exhibit this property is called magnetic material or simply magnet. Generally, each magnet is characterized with two poles. I repeat, each magnet is characterized with two poles. One is north pole and another one is south pole. The combination of north pole and south pole itself called magnet. So magnet is also called dipole because there are two poles, south and north. The properties of these poles are, like poles repel each other and unlike poles attract each other. That means south-south and north-north repel each other and north-south and south-north attract each other. Our earth is also a magnet. The strength of the earth magnet is 0.25 gausses to 0.65 gausses. Gausses is the unit to measure magnetic induction. So the earth magnetic induction, the range from 0.25 to 0.65 gausses. Generally, a small bar magnet has a magnetic induction range from 10 to 50 gausses. So, if you compare the magnetic induction of the earth with a simple bar magnet, it is almost 10 times less than the bar magnet. That means earth is a very weak magnet. Since earth is a magnet, each magnet has a north pole and south pole, right? So if you suspend freely a bar magnet, it aligned along the north south of the earth. If you suspend freely a bar magnet on the earth, the bar magnet align itself towards the north and south of the earth. Since magnet has two poles, so it is also called dipole. The distance between two poles, the distance between north pole and south pole is called length of the magnet. Each pole is characterized with its pole strength, like as similar to that electric charge. Electric charge is measured with coulombs. Electric charge, the magnitude of the electric charge is measured with the coulombs. Similarly, the magnetic pole is characterized with magnetic pole strength. The magnetic pole strength units are ampere meters. So north pole has a pole strength and south pole has a pole strength. In a dipole, two poles have same magnitude of pole strength. The pole strength of two poles are equal in a dipole. So simply dipole is nothing but combination of two poles which are separated by a small distance L. Now the dipole moment is defined as the product of pole strength and distance between the poles. The magnetic dipole moment is defined as the product of one of the pole strength and distance between the poles. Let us suppose m is the pole strength of each pole and L is the distance between them. Now the magnetic dipole moment is defined as m into L. M is pole strength, L is distance between them. Pole strength units are ampere meter, distance units are meter. So the magnetic dipole moment units are ampere meter square, right? Next, Coulomb's inverse square law in magnetism. It is similar to that of Coulomb's law in electrostatics. In electrostatics, Coulomb's law gives you the magnitude of force of attraction or repulsion between the charges. Similarly, the Coulomb's law in magnetism gives us the force of attraction or repulsion between the two magnetic poles. According to Coulomb's law, the force of attraction or repulsion between the two poles is directly proportional to the product of their pole strengths and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the poles. It is similar to that of charges. There force is proportional to product of charges. Here force is proportional to product of pole strengths. Let us suppose m1 and m2 are two pole strengths. Now according to Coulomb's law, F proportional to m1 m2 and F proportional to 1 by r square inversely proportional to square of the distance. So if I combine these two, then what I can write? F proportional to m1 m2 by r square. If I remove proportionality, I have to use a constant. Let us suppose constant is mu naught by 4 pi, then the force of attraction or repulsion is given by F is equal to mu naught by 4 pi into m1 m2 by r square. So Coulomb's inverse square law in magnetism is given by F is equal to mu naught by 4 pi m1 m2 by r square. What is mu naught? Here mu naught is permeability of free space. Here mu naught is permeability of free space. The value of mu naught is given by 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7 Henry meters. If I change this Coulomb's law in a medium of permeability mu, then I can write as F is equal to mu by 4 pi m1 m2 by r square. What is mu? Mu is the permeability of medium. The relation between permeability of medium and permeability of free space is given by mu r is equal to mu by mu naught. Here mu r is relative permeability. Next, what is magnetic field? It is similar to that of electric field. What is electric field? The area surrounded by a electric charge. Similarly, magnetic field means it is the area surrounded by a magnet in which other test pole experiences an attractive or repulsive force. So simply magnetic field means it is the area of a magnet, or it is the area surrounded by a magnetic pole in which other pole experiences attractive or repulsive force. the strength or the magnitude of attraction or repulsion force experienced by other poles is measured with magnetic induction. Next one is magnetic induction B. This is also called magnetic field strength or magnetic flux density, whatever you can use. Magnetic induction is the strength or the magnitude of the force experienced by other pole in magnetic field. So magnetic induction is a measurement for the strength or the magnitude of the force experienced by the other pole in magnetic field. The definition for magnetic induction is, it is the force acting per unit north pole placed in magnetic field. It is similar to that of electric field intensity, force per unit charge. Here force per unit pole. So magnetic induction is defined as the force acting on unit north pole placed in magnetic field. It is defined as B is equal to F by M0. Here M0 is pole strength of north pole. Units for magnetic induction are Tesla or Gauss or Weber per meter square. You can use any one of these, Tesla or Gauss or Weber per meter square. Generally Tesla is bigger one, Gauss is small unit. The relation between Tesla and Gauss is 1 Tesla is equal to 10 to the power of 4 Gausses. Now from Coulomb's law, the force between two poles M and M0 is given by F is equal to mu naught by 4 pi M M0 by R square, right? But from the definition of magnetic induction, B is equal to F by M0. If I substitute F value here, what I will get? B is equal to F by, F means mu naught by 4 pi M M0 by R square by M0. If I rewrite this equation, then mu naught by 4 pi M M0 by R square into 1 by M0. If I cancel M0 M0, then B is equal to mu naught by 4 pi M by R square. This is magnetic induction or magnetic field strength or magnetic flux density formula due to magnetic pole strength M at a distance R from magnetic pole. Next, magnetic lines of force. The magnetic lines of force are similar to that of electric lines of force. The definition for magnetic lines of force, they are imaginary lines or curves in which a freely suspended north pole can move. So magnetic lines of force, just they are lines or curves in which a north pole can move freely. So it is the path of a north pole. If you draw magnetic lines of force, they looks like this. Take a bar magnet like this. Now take a compass needle which shows always north pole. If you draw magnetic lines of force, then they looks like this. They always starts at north pole and they end with south pole. Outside the bar magnet, the direction is from north to south, but inside the bar magnet, the direction is from south to north. The magnetic lines of force are just imaginary lines in which a north pole can move freely, right? The importance of the magnetic lines of force, they represent the magnetic field direction. They represent the magnetic field direction, and also they indicates the strength of the magnetic field. They indicates the strength of the magnetic field. The magnetic field lines more, that indicates magnetic field is stronger. The magnetic lines are less, that indicates the magnetic field is weaker. So the strength of the magnetic field is proportional to the number of the magnetic lines of force. If you see this diagram here, take 3 points A, B, C. If you observe different points, depending on the number of lines, you can calculate the strength of the magnetic field. If the more number of lines are there, that indicates field is stronger. If the less number of magnetic lines are there, the field is weaker. the tangent drawn to these lines at any point gives the direction of the magnetic field. The tangent drawn to the magnetic lines of force at any point gives you the direction of the magnetic field. Next one, magnetic flux. Magnetic flux is the number of magnetic lines of force passing through given surface area. Simply, magnetic flux indicates the number of lines of force passing from given surface area. Magnetic flux is indicated with phi b. Phi b is equal to B dot A. In mathematically, magnetic flux is defined as the scalar product between the magnetic field strength and surface area. Phi is equal to B dot A. Magnetic flux is measured with units Webers. If a small area ds is considered, then the magnetic flux due to this small area is d phi b, can be written as d phi b is equal to B dot area is ds. So, d phi b is equal to B dot ds. To get total flux, I have to integrate that equation within the limits. If I integrate both sides, I will get phi b is equal to integral B dot ds. That implies, if I remove dot product, I have to use cos theta. Now, phi b is equal to integral B ds cos theta, where theta is the angle between magnetic field direction and surface normal. Flux is maximum if theta becomes 0, because if theta becomes 0, then cos theta becomes 1. Now, I will get phi is equal to integral B ds. So, flux is maximum if theta becomes 0. That indicates if the surface is perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field, that means this is surface. Now, the normal drawn to this surface is ds. Now, ds is like this. The angle between ds and magnetic field B is 0. So, if the surface is normal to the magnetic field direction, then the angle between ds and B is 0. In this case, cos theta becomes 1. So, magnetic flux is maximum. In other case, flux is 0 if theta becomes 90. If the magnetic field direction is parallel to the surface, then the angle between ds and B is 90. That indicates cos 90 becomes 0. So, flux is maximum if theta becomes 0, flux is 0 if theta becomes 90. To understand magnetic flux, see here, this is a bar magnet. These are the magnetic lines of force emanating from that north pole, right? Now, take a small area. This is area which I am considering. Now, what I am doing, just I am moving that area towards the north pole like this. Now, what you will understand from this experiment? See here, as long as the area is moves close to north pole, more number of magnetic lines of force passing from that area, right? See here, if I consider 3 points like this, here, here, here. Now, here very less number of magnetic lines are passing, here moderate number of magnetic lines passing, here more number of magnetic lines are passing. So, at this point more number of lines of force are passing from given area. That indicates more flux is passing through the surface. In this case, medium number of magnetic lines of force are passing. That indicates moderate flux passing through the surface. But in this case, very less number of lines of force passing. That indicates magnetic flux is less in this case, right? Next, Gauss law in magnetostatics. According to Gauss law, the net magnetic flux through any closed surface is 0. It is similar to the Gauss law in electrostatics. In electrostatics, Gauss law is given by net electric flux is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times into net charge. But here, net magnetic flux through any closed surface is given by 0. So, phi magnetic flux is indicated with phi b is equal to B dot A, that is equal to 0. For a small area ds, d phi b can be written as B ds, that is equal to 0. Total flux phi is equal to integral B ds is equal to 0. If I remove dot product, phi is equal to integral B ds cos theta is equal to 0. This is Gauss law in magnetostatics. The significance of Gauss law is very simple. No single pole exists. That means you cannot find north pole or south pole separately. This is the significance of Gauss law. If you see Gauss law in electrostatics, 1 by epsilon naught into charge q, but here instead of charge, what is there here? Pole. But here there is no pole exist separately, that's why here it is 0. So magnetic flux is 0 indicates there is no separate pole exist. Always two poles, north pole, south pole, exist as a dipoles. So the significance of Gauss law is no single pole exists. And also the net magnetic flux through any closed surface is 0. Outside the magnet, magnetic lines are starts from north to south, but inside they are south to north. That indicates they are closed loops. So magnetic lines of force are always closed loops. That's why net magnetic flux is 0. Next, Gauss law in differential form. From Gauss law, what is Gauss law? Phi b is equal to integral B dot ds is equal to 0. This is equation 1. But using Gauss law from vector analysis in first year, you have Gauss theorem. From that, if you write Gauss theorem for a vector f, we can write as surface integral of f ds is equal to volume integral of del dot f dv, right? If I replace f with magnetic induction B, then what I can write? Surface integral B dot ds is equal to volume integral del dot B dv. This is equation 2. If you equate 1 and 2, left side surface integral B dot ds, here left side surface integral B dot ds. So if I equate right hand sides, then volume integral del dot B is equal volume integral del dot B dv is equal to 0. That indicates del dot B is equal to 0. This is called differential form of Gauss law. Integral form is first one, integral B dot ds is equal to 0. Differential form is del dot B is equal to 0. So finally, summary. Till now what we have discussed? What is magnetism? It is a physical phenomena produced by the motion of electric charge which results in attractive and repulsive forces between the objects. The substances which exhibit this property are called magnets. Each magnet is characterized with pole strength. Generally, magnet is also called dipole because two poles exist, north pole and south pole in a magnet. That's why it is called dipole. The distance between two poles is called length of the magnet. Each pole is characterized with pole strength. The product of pole strength and distance between the poles is defined as dipole moment, mu is equal to m into L. Units are ampere meter square. Next we have discussed about Coulomb's inverse square law in magnetism. That is given by F is equal to mu naught by 4 pi m1 m2 by r square. m1 m2 are pole strengths, r is the distance between the poles. Next, magnetic field. What is magnetic field? It is the area surrounded by a magnet in which other poles experience a repulsive or attractive force. Next, magnetic induction. What is magnetic induction? It is the measurement for the strength or the magnitude of the force experienced by the other poles in magnetic fields. It is defined as force acting per unit north pole in magnetic field. B is given by F by m0. Units are Tesla or Gauss or Weber per meter square. The magnetic induction at a distance r is given by B is equal to mu naught by 4 pi m by r square. Next, magnetic lines of force. What is magnetic lines of force? The magnetic lines of force are imaginary lines or curves in which a freely suspended north pole can move freely. These magnetic lines of force indicates the direction of the magnetic field and they indicates the strength of the magnetic field. The strength is proportional to the number of lines. The tangent drawn to the magnetic lines of force at any point gives you the direction of the magnetic field. Next, magnetic flux. What is magnetic flux? The number of magnetic lines of force passing through given surface area. It is denoted with phi b is equal to B dot A, scalar product of magnetic induction and area, B dot A. What are the units? Webers. We can write phi is equal to integral B dot ds cos theta. Next, we have learned Gauss law. What is Gauss law? The net magnetic flux through any closed surface is 0. Phi b is equal to B dot A is equal to 0. That indicates phi b is equal to integral B ds cos theta is equal to 0. Next, Gauss law in differential form and integral form. Integral form is integral B ds is equal to 0. Differential form del dot B is equal to 0. Thank you very much. Please watch, share, like, comment my videos and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.